let's take it real slow. You know we got what you need, baby, so take it, move along. I said we got what you need, honey, come and groove along. Come on. Rolling on the highway, you know. Wow! Come on.
right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for Jubilee Circle this morning. Thank you for those of you who are in the building and those of you who are joining us. I don't know which camera to look at anymore. Jim's got 20 cameras in here. There. Where am I looking, Jim? Am I straight ahead? Oh, there we're at. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Oh, here comes Fran and Reva. Yay! Fran and Reva, yay! All right, we'd like to start off this morning with a song from singer and songwriter Carrie Newcomer, and she talks about this song and how she wrote it after, she didn't say which one, but she said after some manner of political defeat that that rocked her, and I think that's sort of something that's happened to the rest of us recently. It's called Sanctuary. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on. Carry on, carry on. This one knocked me to the ground. This one dropped me to my knees. I should have seen it coming, but it surprised me. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on. Carry on. Carry on. In a state of true believers, on streets called us and them, it's gonna take some time till the world feels safe again. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on. Carry on. Carry on. You can rest here in Round Chapel with a circle of friends, a quiet grove of trees all between two bookends. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on. Carry on. Carry on. Carry on. yeah. Isn't that a beautiful song? Mm. All right, everybody. So welcome again to Jubilee Circle. We are so happy that you have joined us this morning, either in person or out there in TV land. And if you are out there in the YouTube land, you can go to jubileecircle.com and you can download a bulletin. Those of you in the room have one, but jubileecircle.com, right there on the front page, you will find a link to the bulletin. It was that great theologian Jim Morrison from The Doors who once said, "The important kind of freedom is to be what you really are. You trade in your reality for a role. You trade in your sense for an act. You give up your ability to feel and in exchange put on a mask. There can't be any large-scale revolution until there's a personal revolution. On an individual level," he says, "it's got to happen inside first." Break on through to the other side. I mean, that's exactly what it was, yeah. Now, I don't know about any of you jubilants, but I am ready for a revolution. And when I look around the world these days, I am very tempted to fall into despair. I'm tempted to be cynical. I'm tempted to hate those that I perceive as responsible for everything that is wrong with the world. But if we want a revolution that lasts, this isn't about winning a battle, only to have a victory reversed by the next group in power. We've got to look for what real freedom is about. Jim Morrison tells us we can only find that when we remember who we really are. There is no large-scale revolution until there is a personal revolution. On the individual level, it's got to happen inside first. Jubilants, we are not these bodies. We are not our politics. We're not our religion. We're not even who we were yesterday. We are the light of the world. We are innocent children of God, and we have the power to save this world. If only we'd stop looking outside of ourselves for all of the answers. Jim Morrison knew. He knew this. He said revolution begins within first. If we ever hope to have true revolution on a large scale, to see it outside of ourselves, you got to see it inside first. That's because the world around us is a direct reflection of the inner world. And if you want a world where everybody is treated with love, with respect, with equity, with love, that's the world you got to create inside first. It can be simultaneous. We can walk and chew gum. We can do two things at once. But as we're creating more of that loving world inside, more of the loving world appears outside. It's a law. It just happens. And we know it's not an easy task because the world around us remains in such a recalcitrant state. But the Holy invites us in every moment, jubilants, to practice revolution by removing all the barriers that we have constructed that prevents us from living into who we really are, from living into that love that we are, that created us, and that light that we have in us that will change the world. Because when we can get that, and the revolution begins within, then the whole world will begin to say,
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. And we begin every Jubilee Circle in the same fashion. We remember our four elements, the air and the water and the earth and the fire, and we burn black sage as a reminder that this is a time to set your intentions, to set your personal intentions to build that world of peace and joy and love within, but also your intention to bring that peace and love and joy out into the world around you. And we center ourselves in this sacred time and space by calling the four directions. And yes, this week we actually have four of them. So if you would turn and face the east. Holy One, we thank you. We thank you for that sun that never rests and devotes its entire self to warming this little blue planet that we are on. We thank you that the sun does not hold back and give just a little bit of its warmth or what it thinks it can afford to give, Instead, the sun pours forth its entire wealth of light and warmth onto every inch of this little place we call home. Holy One, help us to be like that sun, spreading our wealth of light and warmth with that same generous abandon. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the south. Holy One, even though we may sweat profusely in this summer heat, thank you for the ability to give its heat. Thank you that the south gives that heat wastefully, pounding us with its stifling humidity and moisture. Without the south's oppressive heat, though, we could not enjoy that coolness of fall, that chill of winter. May we be as open to the oppressive and suffocating times in our lives and appreciate them while they're here, but knowing that cooler, easier times lie ahead. Quarter turn to the right and we face the west. We give thanks, Holy One, that as the sun sets on this day and every day, it fully gives up its place in the sky. It doesn't try to hold on just for one more second. Instead, it allows the darkness to fully settle in and take over the night. Help us, Holy One, to allow any darkness that we're experiencing to fully settle in, not to escape too quickly from our dark thoughts and feelings. Help us instead to see them as ways to learn more deeply about you and ourselves. Help us, Holy One, to dance with delight, even in the dark. Quarter turn to the right and we will face the north. We give thanks, Holy One, that the north doesn't hold back the full force of its chilly winds. Without the hard freeze, crops like wheat and corn can't grow effectively. Without a hard freeze, pests like mosquitoes and flies and fleas and ticks, they only increase in our warm times. The cold is necessary for the rest of the life cycle. So help us give thanks, Holy One, for the cold and frozen times in our own lives, because we know new growth and transformation is taking root and will make us healthier and happier when the warmth returns. And as we turn back toward the center, you're going to find a bunch of folks who need to take it easy now and then. We need to find that sanctuary, that refuge, to regroup and recharge when the world around us seems to be so chaotic. So I invite you in this holy time and place, sit back, enjoy yourselves, relax and dance and sing and enjoy this moment in life, because this moment is a sanctuary. It reminds you to relax within it. Take it easy, breathe deeply, and say, oh yeah. All right, remain standing, and we have our opening song, a little bit of imagining a new world this morning. That's what we're talking about. If we can imagine the world we want, we can bring it into being. So let us begin to imagine this morning. And greet one another as we sing.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living
and no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger, a brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one.
Oh yeah, all right. Y'all maybe seated. All right, yes, imagine. All right, so welcome again, everybody. I can't seem to hit the thing. All right, turns the echo off of my voice so I don't sound all weird. All right, so welcome everyone again, and welcome to those who are joining us for the first time. We do have first time. Jennifer, thanks for coming.
Welcome, Jennifer.
And we, can't hide in Jubilee. That's just what it is.
No
but
blending in.
we're no blending in. There's no back seat.
We welcome you.
So, but thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you being here. And remember, there is Soundy School at 10:30 on every day, every Sunday. So it's a good experience to come and get yourself all centered before you get here. But a little bit. Oh yeah, absolutely.
This morning, while Trisha was doing Sunday school, there are yoga mats in the area, and so I had a yoga mat and was just doing some personal yoga while she did that, and it was amazing.
Oh.
So if anybody else wanted to,
Yeah.
if anybody else wanted to,
Yeah, there you
exactly.
go.
So you don't have to just sit there.
All right. Come
There are
and-
napping chairs too if you need.
They're napping chairs, yes. What Keith calls napping chairs, other people might call meditation spaces.
Always go to sleep on it.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Well, it just means you need rest. That's just all it means. All right. So a little bit about us. Jubilee Circle, we are an inclusive, progressive interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina, broadcasting around the world thanks to the amazing Jim Mounts, whose birthday it was, yesterday?
What a birthday.
Was it yesterday, Jim? He's like shy. Was it yesterday? Friday. All right. Here we go.
Here we go.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jim. Woo! Happy birthday to you. And many, many more. Oh, yeah. Jim keeps us up and running on the air, makes us look good. So makes us sound and look good, makes us sound and look better than we are. So it's great. All right, so back to us. Jubilee Circle, enough about Jim. Back to us. We are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina. We teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that you find in all mainstream religions, metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages. We use popular music, teaching, weekly celebrations, educational events, artistic and musical events, and other community-building activities because we're trying to create this space here in Columbia, South Carolina, and everyone to experience transformation so then they can go out and be that transformation in the world. And we believe we're here to expand our souls, to find a deeper meaning in life, renew our commitment to love and peace and justice, and learn how to love wastefully and undergo a transformation from the inside out so deep that all we can do in every moment is live from that higher divine self. But we also recognize we're here, we're in the world, we're part of God's good creation, we're formed in stardust and in love and in joy. But, we forget this. We're forgetful human beings. We believe we're lost in this world of paradox. We look around us and we see you over there and them over here, and then we don't know what to do with it, so we start judging it. We just look around, and then all those people over there, they're beautiful. That's beautiful people. Ooh, those are some ugly people. Those are good people. Those are bad people. Those are generous people. Those are stingy people. Those are really loving people, and those are really, 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 really
Overbearing?
Recalcitrant.
Is that a good word?
Overbearing? Yeah, they could be.
Overbearing, yeah.
Overbearing.
Those are
Overwhelming. Judgy.
Bossy.
Bossy. All those things. But we are called, jubilants, to remember. Our function here, it is to remember that we have never lost that home of unity, that we all still are there. Even those people we call recalcitrant, they're part of this unified whole that we are and that we are called to awaken to and become that channel of love here in the world. So everybody gets to say, oh, yeah. All right. A few announcements as we move forward. Next Sunday, July 17th, we're going to talk about the humanity of serving one another. And I'm just fishing around for songs still a little bit, but I think I've settled on a song from the Tavares. Have you ever heard of this? It's called Don't Take My Music From Me. The Tavares brothers? Yeah. No. Look it up. It's a really good song. It's called Don't Take My Music From Me. Is that the one? It might be. I don't know. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah. I think it is. Yeah. That's Jim, our music expert back there. Yeah. But yeah, this is not one of their more well-known songs, but it's a great song and it really works. But anyway, no, maybe that was the, heck, I don't know. See what happens next week. It's going to be great. I may be thinking 2 weeks ahead because I try to think 2 weeks ahead or I go insane. All right, so Friday, July 22nd, we're going to have a potluck at 6:30, followed by Jubilee Circle will be part of the Atlantic Institute's Tour of Faiths program. So it'll be in person and online, so anyone who can get on a computer can come in and watch. So what we're going to try to do is give a little history about Jubilee Circle, maybe give a little demonstration of a Sunday morning, what we do, you know, give folks maybe we'll call the Four Directions, sing a song, that kind of thing, just to kind of give people an idea of what Jubilee Circle is and how we conduct our celebrations. So maybe folks can know more about us, watch us online, come and visit us. So this will be a great thing. So at 6:30, we're going to do a potluck. So bring something to share. Julie and I have, we'll make sure that there's a main dish of some sort. But everybody bring some sides, bring some desserts, and come and take part. So hopefully other people will come in, you know, that they'll RSVP and they'll come in person who've never seen the place before. And so we can greet new people and, you know, try to not be, you know, too off-putting, you know, with all of our love and stuff. You know, people are not used to that. So come and be a part of that. It's going to be a really nice evening, and it'll be a nice way to help introduce Jubilee Circle to more and more people, and that's what we're here for. And of course, Sunday School at 10:30, and our Course in Miracles group meets 7:30 on Wednesday nights, and that's really good too. If you're really interested in the course, or or you're curious, want to know a little more about it, it's a really easygoing group, and it's just good place to get your feet wet. All right, are there any other announcements that I am missing that I need to mention that I've forgotten? Okay. All right. Great. Hear these wise and holy words.
From A Course in Miracles, Chapter 5. Every loveless thought must be undone, a word the ego cannot even understand. To the ego, to be undone means to be destroyed. The ego will not be destroyed because it is part of your thought, but because it is uncreative and therefore unsharing, it will be reinterpreted to release you from fear. The part of your mind that you have given to the ego will merely return to the kingdom, where your whole mind belongs. You can delay the completion of the kingdom, but you cannot introduce the concept of fear into it. The Holy Spirit is shared inspiration of all the sonship, induces a kind of perception in which many elements are like those in the kingdom of heaven itself. First, its universality is perfectly clear, and no one who attains it could believe for one instant that sharing it involves anything but gain. Second, it's incapable of attack and is therefore truly open. This means that although it does not engender knowledge, it does not obstruct it in any way. Finally, it points the way beyond the healing that it brings and leads the mind beyond its own integration toward the paths of creation. It is at this point that sufficient quantitative change occurs to produce a real qualitative shift.
These are wise and holy words.
Thanks be be to the holy.
All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the God. Hallelujah. All right, I invite you in this contemplation time to imagine. Okay, sure thing. That sounds great. All right. I invite you to imagine. I invite you to imagine the world that you want. The reason we have the world that we have is that we don't believe in the power of our imagination. We believe in the power of our recalcitrance. We believe in the power of our anger. We believe in the power of being right. We believe in the power of separation. And insanity is the, if you want what you have, if you do what you always did, you get what you always got, right? And insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We live in an insane world that does the same thing over and over again. Over and over again. Somebody wins a victory. Somebody comes to power and takes it back. Somebody else wins a victory. It's a whole cycle. Wouldn't you like to break the cycle? Imagine. Imagine. The thing is, every invention, for good or ill, in this world came into being because somebody could imagine it. Somebody could imagine a little box that you carry around in your pocket that gives you access to the entire world. Somebody imagined that. That was unimaginable when I was 1965 when I was born. Computers took up entire frickin' buildings. Yeah. I mean, it had punch cards. I mean, it's amazing. The nuclear bomb exists because somebody imagined it. We are powerful creatures, Jubilants. We have imaginations that can expand us or destroy us. How will you use your power? We have to imagine a better world, a better way. Because if we can imagine it, we can bring it into being. Oh yeah? Oh yeah. Use your power. I don't know if anybody's seen Stranger Things. But Beth's little thing back there just there's about the clock when the clock goes. It's like, oh my God. That's okay. You didn't know. So our song this morning comes from those four mop heads from Liverpool, the Beatles. This was when they weren't mop heads back in 1968.
Maybe
when
a
they
little mop here.
Maybe, yeah. This song called Revolution comes from their 1968 self-titled album that everybody knows as the White Album. And you know what? I didn't realize this, but it was the B-side of the single Hey Jude. Did you know that? All right. So here's a little popular B-side for you.
Say you want a revolution. Well, you know, we all want to change the world. Tell me it's a revolution. Well, you know, we all want to change the world. But when you talk about destruction, don't you know you can count me out? 'Cause you know it's gonna be alright. Alright. Alright.
Bruce Clark, everybody. Woo! It's the only reason we're doing that song today is because we got Bruce. Woo! Well, I don't know about any of the rest of y'all, but I'm really kind of tired of living in this world. I mean, really. The past few years have been overwhelming, frightening even. A pandemic, wars, rumors of wars, government institutions being overrun by radicals and conspiracy theorists, mass shootings become a daily non-event. Oh, another one of those? All right. The Supreme Court bent on taking back hard-won rights, putting us back by years. A minority party stacking the legal system, gaming the voting mechanisms of this country to the point where the majority may never, ever, ever get to be elected again. The rollback of civil rights. November scares me, y'all. It does. Some days it's just too much. Some days I really do feel despair about this world. But you didn't come here to hear that. You know it. So how about some good news? How about some good news? You don't have to live in this world anymore. And I know that sounded very cult leader-like.
Kool-Aid for everyone.
That's right, Kool-Aid for everyone. We don't have to live here anymore. No, that's not what I'm talking about at all. But there is something short of Kool-Aid that we can do. What? Musk? Oh. No, that man's name does not need to leave my lips. But okay.
I say it.
I know, you're a fan. But Beth. But there is something, Jubilants, that we can do to change this world forever without any fear of any gains being reversed. But it will require changing the way you think. It will require your imagination to create a new way to live. Certainly, many of us are doing all we can to reverse the trend. And we're using the tools that we have at our disposal. But these are tools that we have used in the past, and they have served us very well. We protest. There was a big march in Washington yesterday. We put our bodies on the line. We write. We call our representatives. We make our views known. We go to the ballot box every time it's made available, whether the election is for dog catcher or president, and every office in between. We agitate, we resist, we gather, we hold signs, we shout slogans, we stand vigil, and they have worked. Those tactics have been successful before. Laws have been changed. Women got the right to vote. They got the right to hold office. They got the right to have their own bank accounts and buy property. And that was just in the 70s, people. That was just in the 70s. Women, for a time, gained control of their own reproductive rights. Gays and lesbians won the right to love one another in private and then in public as marriage rights were granted. Black people were set free from slavery, allowed to marry across racial lines, and granted equal rights in voting, jobs, and all other areas of life. Schools got integrated. We even became enlightened enough for one hot minute to elect a black president. And women have been selected for the highest courts in the land. People of color have ascended into positions of power and prestige. Jubilants, we have come a long way in this country in the fight for equality, for equity, and civil rights. But of course, the clock has been turned back on a lot of that progress. We find ourselves again in the midst of a familiar fight for our rights, and many of us are tired. We thought we had won the victory already, and now here we are. We're at square one in many areas and facing more setbacks in the future. But the new way that I am suggesting this morning can create a more permanent state of love and peace and joy in this world by creating what A Course in Miracles calls the happy dream. And if you'll notice, there are 2 new stickers up here on my podium that I put on here last week. One of them over here says, begin within. And this one says, the revolution will not be violent. And I think these are the 2 ingredients that I think are missing in the world. And they're missing from these old ways that we have sought to bring about the more permanent change to save this world. I believe that everything we do is infused with the spirit in which we do it. So protesting is great, but if we're protesting out of a sense of anger or feeling treated unjustly or unfairly, all we do is just bring more anger, more indignity, more injustice into the world. But if we begin within, cultivating the peace and freedom and equity and equality that we seek outside of ourselves, if we begin within first, then when we join the protest march, we create more peace, more freedom, more equity, and equality. The protests that I have attended over the years, and there have been many of them, they've all been nonviolent on their face, but I know in my own heart that while I'm standing there in the protest line, I am carrying a sense of anger. I am carrying a sense of hatred for my perceived opponent. I have harbored violence inside toward those that I see as oppressing me or my community in some way. But this new revolution that I'm talking about, it takes nonviolence to a new level, not just in action, but in belief and thought. We cannot advance the cause of love in the world as long as any unloving thought or belief finds quarter in our own heart or in our own mind. It seems simple, right? Get your heart and your mind right, heal all your inner battles, all your shame and despair, and watch the world transform. And of course, your eyes are just rolling right now. Oh, yeah, right, preacher. Okay. Well, we've tried that inner peace and inner light stuff, and it just doesn't work. You know, it reminds me of a quote from G.K. Chesterton, who once said this about Christianity: the Christian ideal has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried. I'm going to revise that to say, the inner way to a permanent outward nonviolent revolution of love has not been tried and found wanting. It has been found difficult and left untried. Why do we find it so difficult to heal the world within so the outer world will heal? Because the inner revolution of love requires us to see clearly that this world is but a dream that we have concocted with our collective egos. And it requires us to remember who we truly are: innocent, originally blessed, beloved children of God who have the power to bring the light of love into the world and totally transform it from despair into joy. But the most difficult thing about this inner path to revolution is this: we have to give up our grievances against one another. Ooh, What? You mean I can't hate that dirty so-and-so? No. We must remember that even those we hate with its purest forms of hatred are also innocent. They're also originally blessed. They're beloved children of God who also have the power to bring the light of love into this world and totally transform it from despair to joy. Yeah, even Donald Trump, even Lindsey Graham, even those 5 Supreme Court justices that you don't like anymore or ever did. Even your neighbor who believes all the conspiracy theories. Everyone whom you feel is separate from you is you. They are just like you. They are an extension of God into this world. The difference is they've been so thoroughly hoodwinked by the ego that they forget their divine innocence of original blessing. They are blinded to the light of love that they carry within them. If you are unwilling to believe that, then yeah. If you're unwilling to believe that even those people you say you hate are the divine light of God somehow, then sure, yeah, the inner revolution of love will fail miserably. It always has, because we can't get past the, oh, I can't have a grievance. You can't get past that. Because we love our grievances. Oh, Lord, go on Facebook for 5 minutes. All those people in love with their grievances. Everybody's wrong, I'm right. You say you want a revolution, jubilants? Well, you know, we all want to change the world. But if you're talking about destruction, you can count me out. If you're talking about an inner revolution of love, though, that completely changes us from ego-driven to higher divine self-driven in the world, then you can count me in. Because as a Course says, once we realize that each of us is the light of the world and we join our minds together in this light, then we will proclaim the realm of God in this place together and as one. And that's a revolution that I will sign up for any day. Breathe deep.
So you have a real solution. Well, no, we'd all love to see the plan. You ask me for a contribution. Well, no, we'll all do what we can. But if you want money for people with minds that hate, all I can tell you is, brother, you have to wait. 'Cause you know it's gonna be alright. Alright. Alright.
How many of us here today grew up in a time of rotary phones, or even at the tail end of them? Oh, yeah. Do you remember your old home phone number? Anybody?
Yes.
I used to.
We
Yep.
can all do it. We can all do it.
Yep. Yeah.
803 427 8068. Yeah.
8675309. Yeah. It was on a wall.
5309.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
So mine was 404-945-9470. I know it. These days, we got cell phones that remember numbers for you, and I just read a recent study that said it's eating away at our memory. We don't remember GPS's cell phones. We don't remember crap anymore. Heaven forbid if I get arrested for anything, because my one phone call is going to be to whoever has my childhood phone number now. Hello, I'm in jail. No, I don't know how you can get a hold of her. I don't know. Oh, man. But that old world where rotary phones and having to remember everybody's number is gone. It's gone away. It's never coming back. We don't use that tool anymore because we don't need it. We got new tools. For better or worse, we have replaced things we once thought as indispensable. That landline, man, that's your lifeline. It's indispensable. Just as rotary phones, though, have gone the way of the dodo, I believe our old tools of revolution are suffering the same fate. and need to be set aside. Sure, there was a time when both rotary phones and cell phones existed together, right? You still had your landline. You were clinging to that landline, I had, just a few years ago, I gave up the landline because you just put it together. If one is good, then both of them are even better. But this moment, I believe, this moment in history is one of transition, just like that time was. So yeah, let's go out, let's protest, let's write letters, let's vote, let's get others registered to vote and out to the polls. But let us also try this new way that has been found difficult and left untried. If you don't believe me that a revolution from the inside out is possible, let me give you a solid piece of fact and example. Look at those you call your opponents. We are here today. We are where we are in our politics and society because they did this difficult thing of becoming true believers in their cause. They had no doubt in their hearts and minds that this day of victory would come for them, not one doubt. No matter the setbacks they suffered, no matter how slow the process may have been, they never lost heart. They never lost their vision of what they wanted. They truly became the change they wanted to see in the world. And I always say those quotes go both ways. Be the change you want to see in the world isn't all about love and light. Sometimes people really do want a dark and oppressive world, and they become that change. So when you think, oh, preacher, that love and light stuff, it's not as strong as hatred and fear. Oh, it's stronger. You just don't believe it yet. You just can't imagine it yet. You just haven't dedicated yourself to making it true. What if we did? Instead of leading with hearts that want to repress, suppress, control, or deny rights to those around us, what if we led with hearts that want nothing but love and joy to permeate this world? What if we led with our soul instead of our ego? Because the ego wants to be right, but our soul wants freedom. When we lead from ego, when we seek to impose our beliefs on others so we can feel right, that's what's happening right now. It's all ego. Then we create the world we have now. When we lead from soul, when we lead from who we really are, love, peace, joy, the higher divine self that knows only freedom, then we create a world of equity, of love, of peace and joy where everyone is respected and everyone is cared for. And how do we do that? How do we begin within and create the nonviolent revolution love that we crave, the world that we want? First, I think we have to be willing to allow the world we see now to collapse. It is collapsing. We have to see that. We are so afraid that if this world that we know, and especially the form of government that we know, collapses, that all we will be left with is authoritarianism and fascism. That's what we think. It's what we believe. We bemoan the state of humanity in this moment. But what if, jubilants, what if, instead of falling into despair, we double down on the original goodness of every single one of us, and we fully believe that in the face of a collapse, we could find our way back to one another instead of separating more, and create a world of equanimity and justice grounded in those principles of real love? What if, jubilants, what if we so thoroughly believed in a world built on love that we were willing to do whatever it takes to bring it to fruition, just as those with a different vision have done so? If you are interested in trying this difficult thing of beginning within to create a nonviolent revolution of love, a course tells us how we can develop this holy perception that sees only love and brings us into heaven in this moment. First, like the sticker says, we begin within. We understand that we are all in this together because we are all one spirit, unified in one creator. And when we know without a doubt our unity, then we lose nothing by becoming God's love and light in the world. We're not called to sacrifice, we're just called to love. Secondly, our loving perception of the world will lead us to stop attacking each other, whether out here physically or in here in our heart or mind. In fact, if we are so dedicated to our revolution of love, a course tells us we will become incapable of attack. We just won't even think to do it. Our first thought will always be to love and not hate. Finally, a course says, when we can see only unity and love, our minds of separation are healed. And this is the passage that just gives me hope in this moment. When we can see only unity and love, jubilants, the ego disappears. The Course says the ego will not be destroyed because it is part of your thought, but because it is uncreative and therefore unsharing, it will be reinterpreted to release you from fear. The part of your mind that you have given to the ego will merely return to the kingdom where your whole mind belongs. If you practice love long enough, your ego dissolves. It disappears. You just don't have it anymore because you're fully healed. This is the revolution we are called to lead in this world, a nonviolent revolution from within that heals us so completely that our ego disappears because it is healed and fully integrated with our higher divine self. Imagine living in an egoless world, a world where love is the rule. We all gain what we need. Everyone becomes incapable of attacking anyone else. You may say I'm a dreamer. I'm not the only one, I assure you.
You got Bob.
We got Bob. That's powerful right there. Jubilants, this old world is trying to leave. It is becoming unbearable, but a new world is trying to emerge. And the question for us is, are we willing to give birth to it? Are we willing to be the midwives of this revolution of love? Are we willing to try something new and radical in service to love? If you are, here are some practices. I like to give you something practical you can do. But here are some practices you can do now to bring about this new world by seeing it through the eyes of love. I want you to take time, maybe not today, it's a little rainy, but take time to reconnect with this wonderful creation. Go out for a walk in the woods and just notice your interdependence on everything in this world. The sunshine, the soil, the trees. We call them resources, the Department of Natural Resources. But these are our brothers and sisters. These are our siblings out in the world. We are interconnected. We don't spend enough time in nature. I know I don't. I am a big fan of the great indoors. But go out. Look around. Appreciate your interdependence on this earth. And then go to Walmart. And appreciate your interdependence with all the people, even in Walmart. That's a spiritual practice right there. Go to Walmart and love everybody. Challenge accepted? I don't know. Field trip. Meditate. Do some meditation. 5 minutes a day. Just any moment where you can take to connect with this present moment. Because that's where divinity lives. And maybe the hardest of all, forgive those that you blame for the source of all the world's problems. Some of that's going to involve some self-forgiveness, and maybe that's the hardest part. But most of all, so see your interdependence in nature, see your interdependence at the Walmart, meditate, forgive, but most of all, be in service to those around you. And it doesn't have to be huge. Just practice even small acts of kindness, giving joy wherever you go. Smile at a stranger, talk to the cashier at a grocery store, hold a door open for somebody. Whatever you do, make an effort in every moment to remind yourself of your unity of our interdependence, to see God's light of love in everyone you meet, maybe especially if they're sporting a hat or a bumper sticker that offends you. Maybe especially. If you take these baby steps now, you will find yourself growing more and more into that realization of our oneness, our interdependence. And as you deepen your practice of an inner revolution of love, one day, you will just find yourself incapable of hating anyone, or attacking anyone, or seeing anyone as your enemy. And in that moment, jubilants, your ego will disappear because it's fully healed, and it will just slip into the light of love along with everything else in the world. At that point, jubilance, A Course in Miracles says, sufficient qualitative change occurs to produce a real, sufficient quantitative change, this is a difficult sentence, sufficient quantitative change occurs to produce a real qualitative shift. In other words, at this point, you will have so revolutionized your inner world to the point that only love remains, that your outer world must follow suit. It's just a law. I invite you, jubilants, ponder this truth this morning. If enough of us are willing to fully live these two principles, begin within, and the revolution will not be violent, then don't you know, it's going to be all right.
You better free your mind instead. But if you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, you ain't gonna make it with anyone anyhow. Well, it's gonna be alright. 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 Alright.
Oh, yeah. Bruce Clark, everybody. Thanks to everybody in the band. That's a fun one. Trisha's back. We're so happy. Cece's back. Oh, that's what I meant to say first. Sorry, Trisha. Cece's back. And Trisha Fopp over there on the guitar and vocals, and Leslie Gilroy here on vocals, and Michael Sprinkles Reisman over there on violin and P. Nanner and everything else. Bruce Clark, we mentioned him. Beth D. Hart on drums. Keith Edwards, Senior. No, not Bruce. Resident vegan.
Edwards.
I'm like, Keith, it's Keith. All right, so this is the moment. I'm not a big fan of capitalism, and I'm not a big fan of what you have to do to keep a place like Jubilee Circle going. Because I don't like to ask for money. I hate it. But if you want a revolution, you know what revolutions take, don't you? Resources. They take resources. And if we are to lead this revolution, if we are to be part of this light that comes to fruition in this world, We need resources. And I've always said that, miracles don't just appear out of thin air. Miracles appear because of other people. Miracles are a direct result of relationships. Because it's your circle, it's the people you know, and it's sometimes the people that you don't know. Being generous, being open, being kind, being supportive. That's how you get a miracle. Our car got hit by lightning a few weeks ago, sitting out here in the parking lot, and now we're down to, we didn't have a rental on our insurance, but we have friends, and a couple of friends have loaned us their car off and on. That's a miracle. It's great. We've got relationships. We got through COVID because everybody in this room and folks out there, strangers, people who didn't even know who we were, gave money. We broke even in 2020. We broke even in 2021. Woo! And this year we're we ain't rich yet, but but we're still here. And we're still here because of everyone in this room, everyone watching, because you are the miracle workers. You give of your time, you give of your talents, you give of your resources, and that's what keeps us here doing what we're doing, and we're doing even more as the pandemic kind of calms down. Actually, Renee, if you want to pass that around. As the pandemic kind of calms down, we're doing even more. We've got even more programs planned and workshops and fun things that are coming up as we enter the fall. We signed up for Pride, so we're going to have a booth out at Pride. Yay. So if anybody wants to help with the Pride booth, please let us know.
I want to be in the parade too.
And we're trying to plan on how to get maybe the band in the parade, but we're working on that. Just to share. Sometimes it's easy to kind of get in your little cocoon, but we're going to try to get out the building and do some fun things and let people know what's going on with Jubilee and how they can be part of it. So thank you, everyone, for supporting us, and you can continue to support us. You can go to jubileecircle.com, and there is a link there for you to donate either through PayPal or Venmo, and there's also the P.O. Box if you like to write old-fashioned checks. P.O. Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina 29240 if you're a big check writer. So thank you so much for all of your support over the years and for your future support. We are grateful as well. All right, so we're going to transition now. We're going to have a little bit of a discussion in the room, which means we're saying goodbye to our folks on the YouTube. But thank you so much for joining us, and please join us again next week. And remember, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, that will be enough, because it is the gratitude that puts us in this present moment so fully that we understand how blessed and how wonderful the world is, even if our ego wants to perceive it as chaos. But in this moment where everything is all right, and we know it's going to be all right, that's where we can say, thank you. Oh, yeah. And oh yeah. So we'll see you all next week.